Welcome to a video that's going to feature Open OnDemand and one of the clusters that is currently being used for research here at the University of Illinois. In particular, we'll be looking at Open OnDemand as it performs on the Hardware Accelerated Learning Cluster, HAL for short, out of the Innovative Systems Lab group within the National Center for Supercomputer Applications. With that being said, let's get straight to it. First, Open OnDemand is a web-based interface to a cluster, which means that instead of logging in through terminal like so, and then having to issue different commands, including srun, sbatch, so on and so forth, we're able to do everything inside of a web browser. To that end, we can go and we can look at our home directory and we can see all the files that we have on the research system. We can easily upload new files. We can create new directories and see that a new directory is present. We can add a new file, so on and so forth. Similarly, what we can also do is we can open that terminal that we previously saw directly inside of a web browser, which means that we do not have to have it installed, or we don't have to have a shell or terminal present on a local machine. To that end, if we do open terminal, we do have to go through a two-factor authentication request prior to being allowed onto the cluster. So here you're seeing basically the two-factor authentication go through, and then we're onto the HAL cluster login node. So again, we can see exactly all of the different sort of items and different things like that through terminal if you're comfortable with that. But the huge selling point here is everything that you normally used to do with terminal can now be done with a very nice web interface. Moreover, we can create these interactive applications. So that means that we can actually launch different data analytics products without having to create an interactive job through a scheduler in the cluster. So here what you're seeing is we're basically doing what we normally would do with submitting a job, but instead it's a web form, and we can just press the launch button to immediately spin up a session. Once we submit our request, you'll notice over on the far right-hand side, we're seeing that the process is starting. So that means our job has been submitted. It's now sort of waiting for available resources. And if we gently refresh the page, you can see that we immediately have a means to connect into this job just by saying connect to Jupyter. And when we connect into Jupyter, you can see that we're now in a familiar Jupyter interface for notebooks. And we can even click on here a demo book, and we can sort of see what happens when we go through and we run different code. So instead of 1 + 1, let's do 3 + 2. And when we go ahead and we run that, you can see that 3 + 2 is 5. We can print out different things. We can import libraries such as TensorFlow and PyTorch and so on and so forth. So here, what we've managed to do is we've managed to basically harness the resources that are available on a research cluster in a more friendly, consumer-oriented sort of approach. So this use of Open OnDemand basically allows for people that aren't necessarily as familiar with command line tools and familiar with how distributed systems to work to basically immediately be able to jump in with a far lower barrier of entry than previously thought to accessing these research systems. So we can basically end sessions very quickly as well by going ahead and clicking this delete. And once we click delete, you'll notice that everything sort of spins back down, and we're done. And we can sort of go and we can, again, make another request to launch a very similar application. Thanks for watching. I hope this has been helpful. See you in the next video. Bye now.